Thursday, March 7th, take 2 because I have issues. Let's see, from their camp, keep asking kids. 9-week assessment, we're going to talk in a moment. Olympian stories, we have 2 fairly entertaining ones going off earlier, kids. In this class, no, I have no one to torture in here. We're up in this class, I think my other class I do. Let's go. 1 more kid to torture left. And so tomorrow, you are going to have the entire class period in order to do the writing on this one. So with that, you have to read the articles. I know I keep saying it over and over again, but my fear is that you're going to show up tomorrow and you're going to freak out and go, what? I didn't know. And it is impossible for you to do well on it if you have not read the articles. I know I'm going to have kids who show up who haven't read them. I'm just hoping to cut down on the number of kids. Because again, there are 3 articles that are going to take some time to read. And it's just to see how well you can read. The first one is going to be all about, integrity and making good choices and about the different things that go into it. Another one that is going to be about a kid that steals a tennis ball and about a baseball player and his contract. And then one about a homeless guy finding a ring. So I figure if I just keep saying to you, you are going to use information from one and apply it to the other 2. So you have to have information from all 3. So if you only read 1 article, it's not very helpful. You're going to need information from all 3 articles, and you're going to need to understand what they're saying. They're not hard articles, but if you're trying to speed read them during lunch while other kids are yelling at you, it's probably not going to go real well. But you get to make your own choices. We only have 2 big grades left this 9 weeks. This one, and then 1 more quiz next week, and I think that's it as far as this 9 weeks goes. Did I answer your question, Martin? Is it gone now? Okay.
I remember it, but I don't know the word. It's like the little bold words.
You mentioned that before, the headings?
Yeah, the headings. How come they don't have all of it?
No, I didn't write them. I think it's because this one has sort of like a social studies book where it has main topics it goes through. This one is more like Greek mythology where it's like a story about a guy making a choice. And then this one's also a story about a guy making a choice. So I'm guessing story-wise, they don't have headings. Be my best guess. Then if you have notebook open, you can either close it or put your stuff inside of it. I don't want notebook open yet. We'll be going through a thing here in just a moment. So let's see how much things we remember. Did we get all the way to Aphrodite's hand sign? I don't think so. Okay. So let's see what things...
You didn't tell us how Aphrodite...
Yes, behind my desk.
Aphrodite when she was going to have...
So if I were to do this hand sign,
That's Zeus.
and you say
Zeus.
this one, this one,
Poseidon. King of the...
this one,
Hades.
Demeter.
God of rains and harvest.
and this of course is where you're not looking at your piece of paper that is covered or put in your notebook, so I would not have to make fun of a kid, not that I was making eye contact with. And then we went to this one. What do we say for him?
Why are you looking, Mark?
Hepatitis.
God of blacksmiths.
Hepatitis.
And this one?
Festus.
Aries.
You.
Aries.
It's you.
There you
Always
go.
been you.
Then this one?
Apollo.
Artemis. And no. What do you say for Artemis?
God of
hunting.
Good hunting. And then this one?
That's God of the sun.
He is the...
God of the sun and hotties. Hot shit.
And I don't think we got to the next one yet. All right.
Just tell us how...
So now, if you want to open up notebook or turn or flip paper over, we can go through and help you out. There. And then with the Artemis Apollo story, just to run through and do a quick rewind.
No!
See, we have Leto, who shows up to flirt with her. What? She says no, so he then creeps on her, and how does he try to trick her? Becomes ultra big swan, and then that's when she falls in love with Swan, and friendliness happens.
If you were a human, I would marry you.
Who shows up to yell at her?
Hera.
Hera. And what she says, you have to run
You
as
have to
long
run
as...
or the snake will catch you.
No, as long as your feet touch the earth, then you're
And why is her feet touching earth important?
Because that's Zeus' will.
Zeus's kingdom. Now, how does she make her run?
By
By
That's the giant snake.
It's gonna go for us.
How long does she run?
Eternity.
Years.
Centuries. Works for me.
Decades.
Some long period of time. And that's when Zeus then comes up with a plan to save her. Saving her. Sadness. What's his plan to save her?
cut the little line in the middle thing.
How does jumping onto an island save her?
Poseidon break the land bobber.
There you go. We break the string for the land bobber. Break the land bobber string. Thus, she then gives birth to the two twins. And what is the first thing they do?
Kill the snake.
Using
Made of their umbilical cord.
Using their umbilical cord bows, and they shoot the snake and kill it. That's what brings us into Artemis, with being the moon and hunting, and then Apollo being the sun and Hades. And I think we got partway, or at least mostly, through the Aphrodite story.
He didn't tell us how she reacted when she had to marry
Let's get to that then.
Hephaestus.
Who overthrows Ernest?
Zeus.
Cronus.
Cronus. What weapon does he use?
A
Side.
sign.
Scythe. What happens every time he chops into him?
Something falls off.
And that's when the chunks fall down. And then Aphrodite is created, and Toby has a question.
Couldn't the girl, well, the mother of Apollo and the other one, just jump in the water?
Don't put literacy.
Probably, but again, I don't think she was thinking that way through. But you can write her a letter and ask and see what she says.
Where do you send it?
Not a
It's not my issue. I'm not writing the letter. And then, let's see, she lives out in the ocean for years until eventually, how does Zeus know she's alive?
Because she's
As
definitely
soon as she steps onto land, and Zeus invites her back to his house to be creepy and says, now you're going to have to get married. Who does she marry? Hephaestus, who looks like he's part goblin. And was that where we stopped?
Yes. He did not tell us
So at
how
this
she
point-
reacted.
She is not happy about having to marry Goblin Face, and she's like, come on, look at Goblin Face, look at me, aha. She's like, this should not be with that. And Zeus goes, don't care, I have to apologize to my son because I kind of crippled him for life. Oopsie. And so this is my way of making it up to him. So she goes, well, you get to tell me who I'm going to marry, but you don't get to control me. So she decides to channel her inner Zeus. And so she decides to celebrate her new marriage. She's going to get a boyfriend. Now she wants a boyfriend that is going to make her husband as jealous as possible. And it turns out there's one person related to him that he hates because of how this guy's personality is. And that would be
Aries.
Aries. Hephaestus hates his brother because Hephaestus is a fairly nice guy and Aries is a gigantic jerk. And it turns out that Aries and Aphrodite are made for each other because he's a horrible person and she's a horrible person. Even though she's the god of love and beauty, the Greeks knew enough to know that just because you're attractive does not make you a good person. And so her and Aries get along perfectly. Which is why, in the poster back over here, this is Aphrodite sitting down. But she's married to the guy sitting next to her. But she's not looking at him. She's staring into the eyes of Aries over here. And these posters, you'll see the fact that we have Hephaestus up here. He's married to Aphrodite, but she is going to be connected to Aries on that side. So that was my way of trying to help you with those. So at this point, she is dating Aries, but married to Hephaestus. What is she going to be the god of? I mean, and cheating, but I guess that's more Zeus's area. But yes,
Yes. Zeus.
love and beauty. She was beautiful and could make people fall in love, which was ironic because she never really has love herself because she's not a good person. So for this, we are going to throw our love gang sign. You have a couple options for your love gang sign. For myself, my fingers are not super agile, so I do this kind where you do like a little half a thing and a half a thing and it makes a heart. But I've seen, I have kids who can do...
This or Brovicast?
No, this. This.
Like,
This is better.
yeah, something along those lines, if you can do one of those.
This
And
is way better than
I've
this.
had kids who
This
can
is way
do,
better.
mine looks like a
We
smash
should go like
diamond.
this.
Go like this.
Whatever your particular heart sign may be, turns out that
Way better.
I had someone do that earlier today too. Reese was throwing that one in my class. Whatever your gang may be, that'd be the one.
That's our game, guys.
Myself, not having a heart, I'm not good at trying to figure out the heart signs.
Heart
Some
sign.
of you have bigger hearts than me.
Awesome. We're not. Oh, I did it.
I just saw learning happen. So that now adds Aphrodite to our list. Our next one, I've already given you the story behind, so we don't have to do the story again. You know this girl, Athena. Because where was Athena born from?
Zeus's head.
Zeus's head. What is the main thing she's the god of?
Wisdom.
So we'll stick with wisdom on that one. For the hand sign for her, we're going to focus on, well, I think there's one that connects to both, where she's born from, and what she's the god of. And this is where I've learned, I used to put down point to brain, and I had too many kids ask where their brain was. So now I've changed it to just point to head, because I was scared to see which kids who don't know. I would go point to brain, and they're like, okay. I was like, are you? And they're like, I'm it. And I'm like, oh my god. So now we just change it to point to head to help you out. You'll know you're in the right area if you tap it and you hear a hollow sound. At this point, we have one throne left open, and that's going to go to a guy by the name of Hermes, which is our story for today. Hermes is going to go back to this guy by the name of Zeus. Now, Zeus has gotten himself in trouble being friendly with Titan girls. And he's decided he's learned a lesson about being friendly with Titan girls, so he's going to go a different direction. And this time, no, not a Cyclops, not that far. But it turns out that in Greek mythology, they had these things that were a lot like what we would call elves, but they called them nymphs. And these nymphs had the same little pointed ears that elves had, and they would have what were called wood nymphs, which were elves that lived in trees. They had sea nymphs, which were nymphs that lived in the ocean. And Zeus tracks down himself a wood nymph by the name of Maya, M-A-I-A, and he falls in love with Maya, and he thinks she is the greatest thing ever. And so he and Maya get together and are friendly. Well, the same day that they get together and are friendly, Zeus comes to his senses a little bit and goes, hey, Maya, there's a chance my wife might try to kill you because you've been friendly with me. And she goes, I don't want to die. He's like, I don't want you to die either here. So I have a plan. Why don't, for like the next couple days, until like this whole thing blows over, why don't you go hide in a cave for a few days, and then I'll come back and tell you when the coast is clear, and then you should be fine. And she goes, okay, I'm already feeling kind of sleepy. And so she takes off, and she finds a nearby cave. Turns out, nymphs are way different than titans. And nymph biology does not work the same as titan biology. For humans, it takes about 9 months for a baby to go through the system. For nymphs, apparently it takes about 9 minutes, because later that same afternoon that she was friendly with Zeus, that afternoon, out pops a little baby. And she gives birth to a little baby by the name of Hermes. And because Hermes is half nymph and half titan, he develops a thing called ADHD. And Hermes is not good at sitting still. He is full of energy and wants to run around. But his mom is tired. And even though moments after being born, he is scooting himself around this little cave, Mom goes, hey, hon, I would like to lay down and take a nap. So can you just entertain yourself here in the cave for a little bit, and then when I get up, we can go exploring and get food. And he goes, not a problem, Mom. So she lays down to take a nap because she's a little sleepy. Hermes looks around the cave and says, ooh, look, there's a rock, there's another rock, and then he sees just outside the cave a squirrel. And Hermes goes, squirrel, and takes off running after the squirrel. And he's like, I'm going to go get a squirrel. And starts chasing the squirrel until he sees the chipmunk. And then he chases the chipmunk until he sees a bird. And then he chases the bird until he realizes he's deep in the woods. And he's crawling around in the woods looking at all these animals that are around him until he stumbles upon a large open area. This big field with trees all around it. And he can see something glowing in the middle of the field. And he gets curious. So he crawls his way over and gets to the middle of it and finds a whole herd of glowing magic cows.
And what?
And he thinks these glowing magic cows are the coolest thing in the world. And he does what any small child would do when you discover a herd of glowing cows in the woods. He steals them. And he goes up to the cows and he starts smacking them in the butt with a little stick and goes, come on, moo-moo cows, come with me. And he takes all the moo-moo cows back with him back to his cave. He even manages to find his way back to the cave without getting lost. When he gets back to the cave, Maya is still sound asleep. She had a big day. She met the king of the gods, was friendly with the king of the gods, hid in the cave, gave birth to a baby, fell asleep. It's a lot for a girl. So she's still sound asleep when he shows up with all of these cows. Well, he doesn't want to wake his mom up, so he tells the cows, shh, don't make any noise. And the cows go, moo. And he goes, shush. And they go, moo. He goes, good job. And they all tiptoe past mom to the very back of the cave. Now, Hermes is no dummy. Quick timeout. For those of you who have seen or read the books for the Percy Jackson series, when they're at Camp Half-Blood, every time there's a meal, they have to do something before they eat.
Throw the food in the fire.
Nicely done. They have to do the sacrifice and throw food into a fire. That's actually from Greek mythology. And it was thought anytime that you had a meal or there was a big gift given to you, you had to give part of it to the gods. Time back in. Hermes is no dummy, and he knows this. So he goes, I just got a whole herd of free cows, which are awesome. So before I get to accept these cows, I'm going to go ahead and sacrifice one of them to the gods so that way I don't get in trouble. I don't want to get in trouble. So he grabs one of the cows and brings it up to the front of the cave, and he does his little prayer over it. He's like, oh, mighty gods in the sky, thank you for my gift of golden cows. I sacrifice this cow to you. And the cow goes, moo, and he pulls out his knife that every small child carries, duh, and then he stabs the cow and sacrifices it, pulls out all the cow guts, throws them over to the side, and everything is good. And at this point, Hermes is tired. He's had a big day, and he's already 4 hours old. So he decides it's time for him to lay down and take a nap. Until later that night, turns out those golden cows belonged to one of Zeus's sons. And this son would come down to visit the cows every night because he had a day job and he had to work during the day, and visiting the cows was his way that he relieved stress. His day job was driving a chariot, which was the sun, across the sky. The guy who comes looking for the cows is Apollo shows up, and he's looking for his cows, and he can't find his cows anywhere. And he was like, what happened to my moo-moo cows? I love my moo-moo cow. Are those cow tracks? And he sees cow tracks leading away from the opening and going off through the woods. So Apollo starts following the cow tracks, goes all the way up to this cave, and as he walks into this cave, in the cave, the first thing he finds is a sacrificed cow all cut apart into pieces and a pile of cow guts. Apollo is enraged. He's like, someone killed one of my moo-moo cows. And then he sees a woman sleeping over to the side, and he's like, I bet that woman killed my moo-moo cow. And then he sees over to the other area a small child that looks like he's between 8 to 10 sleeping over to the other area. Because Hermes is growing quickly. It's this whole ADHD being part nymph thing. He has a speeded metabolism. And so he sees the kid sleeping, sees the woman sleeping, sees the cow, and Apollo starts yelling. And he was like, woman, how dare you kill one of my cows? You can't just go around killing golden cows. And And Maya wakes up and he's like, who are you and why are you yelling at me? And they start yelling back and forth. Well, Apollo and Maya yelling at each other wakes up little baby Hermes, young man Hermes. And young man Hermes wakes up and sees his mom and the god yelling at each other. And he's like, oh my goodness, look at all this squirrel. And then looks around and starts walking around the little cave again. As he's exploring the cave while they're yelling at each other, he finds a little turtle shell off to the side. And he channels his ADHD, and he's like, on the little turtle shell, having a good time, just not. He's like, oh, that makes a fun set. And he comes up with an idea. He's like, you know what? And he pulls out his knife and starts jabbing holes into the turtle shell. Don't. And makes holes all around the outside of the shell. And as he's looking around, trying to figure out what to do next, he sees the pile of cow guts. He's like, oh. And he goes over, pulls out one of the intestines, and then strings it across the turtle shell, back and forth, pulls it really tight, and then ties it off. And then once he's done that, he starts to strum it. He's like, dong, ooh, bling, ding, 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 ooh, ding, 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 and turns it into a musical instrument. This instrument is going to be called a lyre, L-Y-R-E. Now, not lyre, like when your parents ask you if you've done your homework. That's a different kind of lyre. This one is a little musical instrument. Now, Apollo sees him playing this little musical instrument, and Apollo is instantly interested. And he looks at the kid and he goes like, hey, what are you doing? And Hermes goes like, bing, 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 playing this new musical instrument I just created. And Apollo is smart enough to recognize this thing would be perfect for hitting on the ladies. And Apollo's like, you know what? I bet I could play that and I can mac on some chicks. So kid, give it here, I want it. And Hermes goes, no, it's mine, I just made it, you can't have it. Apollo goes, listen kid, I really want that thing, what can we do so I can have it? And Hermes thinks for a second. He goes, all right, how about we trade something? And Apollo goes, all right kid, what do you want me to trade you? You want like a gold coin or something? And Hermes goes, I heard you yelling at my mom about golden cows. If I can find your golden cows, how about you let me keep them? Apollo looks at the kid and is like, seriously? You think you can find my golden cows? Okay, fine, kid. If you can find my golden cows, you can keep them if you give me that musical instrument. Hermes goes, shake on it. Apollo goes, okay. And he goes over and they shake hands, and Hermes hands it over to him. Apollo instantly loves this musical instrument. He can jam on it. He's like, ding, 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 to the point where any picture you see of him, he has it in his hands or on him. Big one up here is the thing hanging on his shoulder. The one that AJ slaps, he's the one right there playing it again. The one that's over here above Toby, he's the one that's playing it right there. He always has this thing and loves it. And he goes, good luck, kid. I have no idea where those cows are. You got hosed. And Hermes goes, moo-moos! And all of the golden cows come marching out of the back of the cave. And Apollo goes, wait a minute, are those my golden cows? And Hermes goes, uh-huh. He goes, did you steal my golden cows? Hermes goes, uh-huh. He goes, then did you just trick me into giving you my golden cows that you already stole for this musical instrument? And Hermes goes, uh-huh. He's like, good deal. And he takes off. He's like, you don't understand, kid. I get to go flirt with the ladies. And off he goes back up to Mount Olympus. Up on Mount Olympus, he's walking around playing his new musical instrument, and Zeus hears it. And he's like, dude, that thing is awesome. You are going to get so many chicks. Where did you get that thing? And Apollo's like, you'll never believe it. I got it from a kid in a cave down on Earth. And Zeus goes, you got that from a kid in a cave? He goes, uh-huh. He goes, the kid just like gave it to you? He goes, oh, no, I had to trade him for it. Zeus goes, like a gold coin? He goes, no, not a gold coin. My golden cows. And Zeus goes, you gave a kid in a cave one of your golden cows for a turtle shell with guts in it. Apollo goes, no, not one of my golden cows. All of my golden cows. And Zeus goes, you gave a kid in a cave all of your magic cows for a turtle shell with guts. And Apollo goes, well, when you say it that way, it sounds bad. And Zeus goes, that's because you're an idiot. Who is this kid? He's like, I don't know, it was some kid in the cave. So Zeus gets directions. He's like, I'm going to go talk to this kid because that's impressive. I have to know who was able to trick you into this. And he goes down to the cave, walks in, and he sees Maya. He's like, Maya, wait, weren't you and I like just yesterday? And she goes, uh-huh. He goes, how you doing? She goes, I'm a mommy. He goes, you're a what now? She goes, this is your son. He goes, that's my what now? And he goes, wait, kid, are those golden cows? And Hermes goes, uh-huh. He goes, did you steal those golden cows from Apollo? He goes, uh-huh. He goes, and then you tricked him with cow guts and a turtle shell? He goes, uh-huh. He goes, oh my God, kid, you are impressive. Would you like to have a throne on Mount Olympus to come hang out with me? And Hermes goes, uh-huh. And he goes, done. Why don't you come on up? So he invites Hermes up to Mount Olympus and says, you get to have my last open throne. Now, when Hermes comes up, Hermes still has attention issues and hyperactivity and cannot sit still. And Zeus is like, you know what we need to do? We need to give you a job to burn off that energy so you don't have to sit still. And Hermes is like, uh-huh. He's like, how about you take this and go run it? And Hermes is like, I got it! And just takes off. So he ends up giving Hermes the job of messenger. And so that's how Hermes becomes the messenger god.
Or the mailman.
See, this is easy
Or
for
the
me
mailman.
since I got ADHD. This is easy for me.
What? No.
You always
So-
whack at the piece of paper
Also,
behind you.
there is a chance this dance that goes along with it will come naturally to AJ. Because every time we see Hermes, he's doing the same thing in every picture.
Run it.
There you go. So you're going to go Hermes, messenger god. And you get to run in place.
Can you do that while standing up?
It doesn't look as cool.
No, it doesn't.
Nah, you should have done it. You should have done it like them TikTok people were like, roses, roses.
I wish I could do like that backwards running thing.
Where's the basket? No,
TikTok, right?
Hermes is
Like
just
that.
the
It's
mailman.
cool. I can't figure out how to do that thing.
I tried.
My feet don't move like that.
I can
I know.
do a basketball.
No, Dionysus came on.
So, at this point, all 12 thrones
said,
are filled in.
That
Because who has the last throne? So, Hestia still has a throne. These 12 gods are the main rulers of Olympus for years. It goes by with just these 12 as the gods. Our next god doesn't come in until humans are made. Because what happened to the first race of humans?
They died.
So there is a second race of humans that I'll eventually tell you about. So we're going to have to go slightly out of order with the story. So for this next god, imagine that we've already introduced humans. But it turns out there's something about these next race of humans that is going to be a little bit different. So here's a little update I have to give.
Oh, there's woman.
With this, well, there are women, which we'll get to, but there's a different thing. Turns out this next race of humans, when they're made, they're not quite as strong as the first ones because they're going to be made by a different god, which is a story we're going to get to next week. But one of the issues is this race of humans were not able to see the Titans in their true form. Because it was thought, well, remember that all gods have the shape-shifting ability, and they can. So these Titans learned they could not show up in their true form because it was thought that a Titan's true form was like this big glowing angel thing, and they're like, ah. If a human saw a god in their true form, like this would not be the god's true form. Like they would come down to earth and take a human form. They could interact with humans all they wanted. But if they took their true form, which was like this big kind of thing, it would vaporize the humans. So if they ever saw a god like this, it was just boom, and they were going to be gone. So the gods had to be careful when they would come down. You could never show your true form, or you would kill a person. So they would just come down and take a human form. Even if they got really big and stomped on people, it was still not their true form, or they would just vaporize people. So at this point, we now have humans in existence. And this story is going to begin with a young man by the name of Zeus. And Zeus, again, decides he wants to be friendly. But this time, he's going to be friendly with a human girl.
Susie.
And he's like, there's no way Hera's going to be mad at me with this because it's just a human girl, so I should be fine. And he finds a human girl by the name of Semele, S-E-M-E-L-E. And he and Semele are friendly for a while, and things go well. Till one day, he shows up to talk to Semele, knocks on her door, and when she lets him in, she goes, "Hon, I have good news." And her good news is, she's pregnant. And Zeus goes, "Oh!" And he realizes, well, he doesn't think Hera's going to be too upset, but to be safe, he goes, "Listen, to be safe on agreement, to be safe on this one, how about you just don't tell anyone? Can we keep this between you and me? Let's keep this pregnancy on the down low until the baby's born, and then I can help raise it. So just don't tell anyone, and we should be fine."
Part of the
She goes,
rich
"Okay, I won't tell anyone. It's a secret." He goes, "All right, I'll come back and check on you in a few months." And he takes off. Well, as time goes by, she begins to get pregnanter and begins to show. Once she begins to show, her friends recognize something's going on. And that's when the fun starts. But we can't finish it today. Nor can we finish it tomorrow. Why can we not do it tomorrow? We also can't finish it Monday. Why can't we do it Monday? So Tuesday is when we'll talk about making friends with humans.